Welcome to the city's My Master in the USA. Today I have Dr. Ingle again with me, and we are going to talk about a very interesting topic. Actually, it's a very new topic for me, and I'm sure it will change the way you see the trumpet. So Dr. Ingle, thank you very much again for this interview. And recently you brought to us a very interesting topic that talks about transference. So could you explain more about this topic?
Well, certainly. First of all, once again, thank you very much for doing this for your friends back in Brazil or anyone else that wants to know what's going on here in the UND Trumpet Studio and the kind of really honestly excellence we are producing, as is clear with Gilson, who is doing just such a fantastic job here, really learning all of this stuff beautifully. So thank you for doing this for everyone. And I think what we're talking about here is, I like to use the word transferring. Transferring is when you transfer from the blow to the buzz, right? It's two things. It's first of all transferring from the blow to the buzz, and then it's also transferring through what we learned in the Thompson book as being the breaks. The break is roughly the low E and the high E, right, in the staff. Last line of the staff and the top of the staff. And when you are able to transfer through these things, both things, I think that clears up one of the most problematic areas in all of trumpet. I think if I notice one thing that's the common denominator of most trumpet players is the lack of transferring. So maybe we'll talk about that today. If we start with the first thing, which is transferring from the blow to the buzz, I really like to use this Inspiron. Inspiron is a breathing device. You can get this Inspiron at windsongpress.com, windsongpress.com, and it's such a great device because it simply allows you to see your air and to experience the kind of resistance that is needed. Well, actually, it's the kind of blow that's needed. So what happens is that on this Inspiron, and once you get the Inspiron, you can see, but on the Inspiron, there's a dial. It dials from 0 to 12 without a lot of extra explanation. We've determined that somewhere around 2 is a good blow for that initial note, at least the G. And what you do, if you go ahead and get your Inspiron, what we'll try to do is put this on your trumpet. Just take it and use your left hand to hold it. There you go, perfect. Perfect. Use your left hand to hold it. And what we'll do, this is a little bit cumbersome right now, but I'm going to come up with some sort of device to make this work a little better. But what we want to do is just simply watch the ball and blow just enough where the ball rises to the top, okay? And let's do this together. Actually, let me do it first, okay? Okay, and go ahead and form an embouchure, so you could buzz at any moment, but just don't buzz. Beautiful. Now let's transfer that into the trumpet. Same exact thing, so I'll play and then you play. Perfect. Perfect. Do you feel how that's the same?
And
now,
it's so easy.
Yeah, it is so very easy. Now here's the problem with transferring is that we don't do that into the trumpet. And that's what we're trying to do. You said it the best. It's easy. It's easy. We need to make the trumpet easy and efficient, and this is what does it. Now, for the sake of this very short video, we'll leave it at that, but what you want to do is do that 5 or 6 times, right? And then we get to the real issue, which is transferring the blow to the buzz without changing The transfer, that goes like this. Okay, so on the hose first, la, sing the pitch, la, la. Good. So listen. What you want to do is between the blow and the buzz, you want to make sure that the ball doesn't drop. Okay, can you try that? And see how that buzz just materializes? You don't have to do anything from the aperture. You don't have to do anything on the embouchure. You just need to blow to the point where the ball is up, and it almost just automatically buzzes.
I like the word you always use. You don't need to manipulate the sound. The sound will happen by itself.
Perfect, exactly. It does happen by itself. I mean, you know, it's magic. It just doesn't. Now I want you to do it one more time. I saw the ball coming up and then it dropped just a little bit. You have to get used to just being forward. Okay, one more time. One more time and make sure the ball doesn't move. Great, fantastic. Transferring that into the trumpet, because we know that the trumpet is just an amplifier. This is what happens. The remarkable thing about that is you get maximum resonance, you get maximum harmonics, maximum volume really, but with absolute minimal effort and minimal volume of air. I'm not blowing hard. It's hard to tell on the video because I know that that sounds loud. But that's the great fringe benefit of this, is that even though you're blowing easy, even though you're relaxed and efficient, it just explodes out of the instrument. And that's where you actually get volume, is increased harmonics rather than increased volume of air. Try that, and all you do is just add the buzz. Transfer the air to the buzz. Yeah, that's just unbelievable, isn't it?
It is.
That is unbelievable. And there is no work here. Go ahead.
It's no effort at all.
Yeah, no effort.
It's the same thing I'm doing.
Right, fantastic. This is it, and honestly, when I say this is it, it's a piece of metal. It is not rocket science. You have to create a vibration that is relaxed, and that is as relaxed and as beautiful of a characteristic sound that I can possibly get from a student, that I can possibly get for myself. This is the kind of sound we want to make. Now, go ahead.
It's interesting because there are some people who knows me and who knows before I came here. Before, when I came here, when I used to play, my neck used to expand. Mainly because I was using the air in the wrong way. But now thinking about this way, it seems like I'm doing nothing, and all this pressure that I used to have here, it doesn't exist anymore.
Right. These different points of resistance, you're bypassing. You can resist in your lips, you can resist in your tongue, you can resist in the glottis, you can resist in the thorax. All of these impede the air from coming just directly to the back of the lips. Now, it's exactly correct. There is nothing going on here now. And that's because you're playing efficient. You're not forcing the sound. Now, the key to this is that, remember, there's two things. There is the transfer from the blow to the buzz, but there's also the transfer from low to middle to high register. And that is delineated by the E's, right? And so working right around the low E and working right around the upper E to make that transfer, that's what's going to allow you to travel. So if your job for the rest of your trumpet playing career is to play a G, you've got it. It's good, but we can't just play it to you. We have to play melodies. We have to play and travel, and sometimes travel below in the low register, sometimes travel in the upper register. But in order to do that, there has to be a transition in the E's, and we can work on those. Let's do that. A couple of things. First of all, let's put this down. A couple of things. What we want to do is to use a lot of times the burp is good. A burp, a little buzz extension resistance piece that you put on your instrument. But for now, we'll just use the mouthpiece. So repeat after me. It makes it much easier if you're not able to do it. But that's perfect. That's perfect. It makes it easier for the video because you can hear the difference, but quite honestly, it sounds exactly like I'm sounding. But what you're doing is that you're traveling through the E. Now on the trumpet, the same thing happens. This is as an exercise, like you wouldn't play the Haydn second movement like this, but a slot now. You have a partial. You can't do the complete glissando. That's why the mouthpiece is important. Okay, try that. And that bottom note just flies out of the horn, right? Now remember, one of the things that's really important before this video is over to talk about is that there's always a misconception about buzzing the mouthpiece, right? Yes. No one is saying that you buzz your lips into the mouthpiece, right? When we talk about Thompson buzzing or stamp or anything like that, if you actually do free buzzing, you do that into the mouthpiece, and then you do it into the trumpet. You get a horrible sound, right? We are not buzzing the lips, but what the free buzz does is puts us in the correct vertical alignment, and then with the mouthpiece, see, there's no buzz, it's open. And when you add a little bit more resistance on the trumpet, it's even more open. Comes out of the horn, and then the travel down past the break is connected and smooth. Try that one more time.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yes.
Generally when we do this exercise and maybe we can't hear through the camera, through the video, are you always starting the sound with the air? No time.
Great question. Yeah, we always miss these things in the short videos that we make, and this is a point that can't be missed. Yes, we're starting with the air. We're eliminating a potential problem, which is the storing of the air or the energy behind the tongue. We just want to start with the air. So you want to start with the ball up at the top. And it's amazing how little air that's really kind of needed, right? So if you think of that, it's basically what you need, right? We have this hole, it's not large, very small hole. There's not a lot of air that can go through. So the more you push, the more it backs off. So we have to find that balance and keep the balance when we go from low to middle to high, right? So when you travel across the break, then there's the problem, because if we don't make the change in compression, if we don't make that change, then we're trying to play in a different register with another register's set. And that's not good. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So let's try this second part. We're doing it low. Let's keep going. Just as an example, we can't do them all, but let's keep going into the pedals, and then let's work on the transfer in the upper E. So just let's skip a few. That's outstanding. That is actually, that's what we're trying to do, is create a real note. So outstanding, outstanding. I got to tell you guys, all of the friends Jilson has that is seeing this video, first of all, that's exactly right. And second of all, he literally could not do that maybe even 6 months ago. This just goes to show you that it's not hard, but you have to get the mindset that you don't have to fight the instrument so much anymore. And the more you back off and understand the inspiron and understand what we're talking about, the more you back off and play with a balance, the more you can transfer that balance, which we learn in the pedal C, back up to the regular register where you're playing. So keeping that balance. It's the same beautiful voice. I would never play Haydn that way, and I never played on B flat, but I just thought of a melody. And it is an even sound all the way through. There is no hint of any kind of a chipped note or anything, because it's all in the same place and open. The alternative is to control it from the aperture. See, it's all that, and this is what I see all the time. That's why I came up with this idea. It's not really just my idea, it's all over the place, but of transferring. Transferring is the one issue that everyone has. Well, not everyone. A lot of people. A lot of students. Not the pros. But, okay, so let's work on the upper transference. And how would you feel like that can occur? Can we use lip bends? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Let's do that so we can work specifically around the C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, somewhere in that register, okay? We can use anything, Arvin, Clark, let's use the chickaroos, okay? So we can just start with I see it in your face. It's so revolutionary because there's a reason why that E was not exactly in the right spot. And if we check the pedal each time, we can see whether we've compromised. And there was a compromise. Now, you're not tired. It's only been 2 or 3 minutes, so let's play into the pedal again. Just try to find it, and then do the chicklets. Do it back to back. Chicklets. that you can hear that on the video no matter what. I know you can hear that. There is no doubt about it. And was it easy?
Yes, the second time was way more easier than the first time.
Yeah, but the key is that visually, I'm watching Gilson here and here, and I hope you can actually see this on the video. There is nothing. There's nothing. So when you came here a year and a half ago, you were compressing from really kind of the throat and the back of the tongue and all of that. Now the air is just going, and especially I think your endurance has shot through the roof, because endurance is learned by eliminating work. If you're bench pressing 5 pounds, you can do that a whole lot longer than if you're bench pressing 500 pounds, right? So you can either work and try to get stronger, and it's not going to, these muscles can get a little bit stronger, but they're not going to really. Or you can play more efficiently and more relaxed, and then add time and endurance that way.
I like the idea to use the big muscles, because it can support more than using the very tight muscles we have here.
Yes, exactly. If you rely on this, it will fail you every time. So just use those muscles, bigger, larger muscles. One more thing, and we'll be done with this video episode. I think it's number 4, right?
Yes, or 3.
Okay. Let's just add past the E. Or whatever you want to do, going down with the arpeggio. Outstanding. Very good. This is something that I think that everyone can benefit. Just thinking about transferring through, making sure that you purchase the Inspiron. There's other breathing devices, but this one is the best. It has the dial. It's $20 on windsongpress.com, and it is really worth its weight in gold.
Okay, just to sum up, when you say transferring, I'm just doing the same thing that I'm doing without the trumpet when I put the trumpet.
Yeah, just getting to the point where you feel like when you put this piece of metal, this foreign object up to your face, that it doesn't entice you to go, to make a sound. It doesn't entice you. So if you can go, and you can go, then you're well on your way. That's the first order of business, is just that G. Then use a resource like the Thompson or the stamp to make that unfold. You don't have to travel too far in the first 4 of the Thompson. You don't have to travel too far in the warm-up of the stamp, but you just have to find out where you can change the compression without changing the balance. And that is the low E and the high E.
I think this was very clear, and if you who are listening this video still have some question, please send me the email or enter in contact with Dr. Ingle. We will be very happy to help and clarify any question or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ingle.
My pleasure. Thank you.